Hope you all had a fine vacation and now looking forward with enthusiasm for the next session. Yes, children, we are going to start with our second chapter of chemistry. As you all know, first chapter we have already done before your summer vacation. Now, the next topic in chapter number 2, that is matter around us pure, we shall be talking about in today's class. That is, we are going to discuss about what are physical and chemical changes, and along with that we'll be talking about compounds and mixtures. So let's start with the class. So let's start with chapter 2, is matter around us pure. So first of all, we'll be discussing about physical and chemical changes. So let's talk about physical changes first of all. Those changes in which only the physical properties of the substances change but no new substances are formed are known as physical changes. Like we have melting of ice to form water and freezing of water to form ice. We have another example, boiling of water to form steam and condensation of steam to form water. We can have another example of preparing a solution. If we dissolve common salt in water in a china dish, the salt disappears in water to form salt solution. Therefore, a change has taken place during the formation of salt solution. Another example could be glowing of an electric bulb, breaking a glass tumbler. So these all are the examples of physical changes. So now what are chemical changes? Those changes in which new substances are formed are known as chemical changes. In a chemical change, the original substances involved lose their identity and get converted into new substances. The new substances thus obtained cannot be converted back into original substances by any physical process. Hence, we can say chemical changes are permanent and are thus irreversible. We can have few examples like burning of magnesium ribbon, burning of a piece of paper, then burning of hydrogen in air or oxygen, rusting of iron, formation of iron sulfide from iron and sulfur. These all are the examples of chemical changes. So now children, try to understand types of pure substances. A pure substance is made up of only one type of particles. These particles can either be atoms or molecules. So we can say a pure substance may be defined as one which is made up of only one kind of particles. A pure substance based on the nature of the constituent particles is of two types, namely elements and compounds. So what are elements? If the substance cannot be broken down into yet simpler substances by any means known to chemists, it must be classified as an element. Hence, an element is the simplest form of matter which cannot be split into simpler substances by any physical or chemical method. Further, elements can be divided into three types, which are metals, nonmetals, and metalloids. So first of all, let's start with the properties of metals. Number one, they have a luster. This means they have the shiny surface. If we talk about the lustrous metals, you can have the examples of gold, silver, and copper, which is reddish brown in color. Gold, you all know children, it's yellowish in color, and silver has got the shining white surface. So next property is they conduct heat and electricity. See children, metals are very good conductors of heat and electricity. Metals allow heat and electricity to pass through them easily. Generally, metals are good conductors of heat. That is, they have high thermal conductivity. Silver is the best conductor of heat. Next property is metals are ductile. This means they can be drawn into wires. These metals can be drawn or stretched into thin wires. All the metals are not equally ductile, just like malleability. Gold and silver are the most ductile metals, children. Gold is so ductile that even a gram of gold can be drawn to produce a wire of about 2 kilometers length. Copper and aluminium metals are also highly ductile and can be drawn into thin wires.
So next property, children, of metals are they are malleable. This means they can be hammered into thin sheets. Best possible example is of aluminium foil in which you wrap your food. The next property says metals are sonorous. This means they make a ringing sound when hit to something, some other object. Examples of metals are gold, silver, copper, iron, sodium, potassium, etc. Mercury is the only metal that is liquid at room temperature. So now children, let's talk about properties of nonmetals. Nonmetals, the first property says they display a variety of colors. For example, sulfur is yellow, phosphorus is white, yellow or red, graphite is black, chlorine is yellowish green, bromine is reddish brown in color, while hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen are colorless. The next property says nonmetals are poor conductors of heat and electricity. This means that nonmetals do not allow heat and electricity to pass through them. For example, sulfur and phosphorus are nonmetals which do not conduct heat and electricity. Thus, many nonmetals act as insulations. However, there are certain exceptions. For example, diamond is an allotropic form of carbon. It is a nonmetal which is a good conductor of heat but bad conductor of electricity. Whereas graphite, another form of carbon, it is also a nonmetal which is a good conductor of electricity. Hence, graphite is used for making electrodes of batteries and dry cells. Another property says they are non-lustrous, non-sonorous, and they are not malleable. Rather, they are brittle. Examples of nonmetals are hydrogen, oxygen, iodine, carbon, bromine, chlorine, etc. Children, third category is of metalloids. These are the elements which show some properties of metals and some other properties of nonmetals. These are known as metalloids. For example, boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony and tellurium. These are few examples of metalloids. These elements show some properties of metals and other properties of nonmetals. For example, they look like metals but are brittle like nonmetals. They are neither good conductors of electricity nor insulators like nonmetals. They are generally semiconductors.
For today, children, I hope whatever was explained in today's class, you must have understood it nicely. If you have any doubts, you may ask any number of times. God bless you all.